This is United Network News with Sunny Galt, Calen, Kimberly Gogan, and our field messengers from around the world. Here's today's real news.
Alcohol is the go-to social drink plenty of people love to enjoy every now and then. While it can be the life of the party, it can have some not so fun effects on your health, especially if you drink heavily or binge. Even small amounts of alcohol have been linked to certain health risks.
In January 2025, the U.S. Surgeon General, Vivek Murthy, issued a report recommending adding warnings to alcohol labels about the increased risk of cancer from drinking. He also suggested updating alcohol consumption guidelines and making labels more noticeable. Current labels, which warn against drinking while pregnant or operating machinery, haven't been updated since 1988. The report reviewed global studies showing a clear link between alcohol and cancer, noting alcohol is the third leading preventable cause of cancer after tobacco and obesity. The report also suggests reassessing alcohol consumption guidelines to reflect this risk. People should consider the link between drinking and cancer when deciding how much to drink. Public health groups are encouraged to raise awareness about alcohol as a major cancer risk, and healthcare providers should talk to patients about this connection and provide support, like screenings or treatment referrals when needed.
Did you know alcohol could be increasing your cancer risk? A new study shows that drinking too much alcohol raises your chances of getting 6 types of cancer, including breast, liver, stomach, and certain head and neck cancers. It's not just about the alcohol. Chronic inflammation and changes in your gut bacteria play a big role too. For women, excessive drinking means 3 or more drinks a day, and for men, it's 4 or more. Studies say there's no safe amount of alcohol. Not only does it increase cancer risk, but it's also harmful to your liver, brain, and overall health. Too much alcohol can lead to liver damage, sleep issues, and mental health problems.
This is not a recent discovery. In fact, alcohol is a toxic, addictive substance with serious health risks that was classified as a Group 1 carcinogen by the International Agency for Research on Cancer in 1988, alongside asbestos, radiation, and tobacco. Decades of research have consistently shown alcohol consumption increases the risk of cancer, and the more you drink, the higher the risk. It doesn't matter if it's beer, wine, or spirits. Alcohol itself causes the damage, even in small amounts. Excessive drinking is known to harm health, but moderate drinking was once thought to be safe and even good for the heart. However, the newly issued report shows even moderate alcohol use increases cancer risk and may contribute to some heart diseases. Cutting down on alcohol can lower the cancer risk and has other health benefits too, like reducing the chances of accidents, high blood pressure, and liver disease. Despite decades of evidence, less than half of Americans know about this risk, raising the question, why is that the case?
For many years, the alcohol industry has misinformed and spread doubt regarding alcohol's causal role in cancer. A 2017 study looked at how alcohol industry-funded groups discuss alcohol and cancer on their websites. These groups included the International Alliance for Responsible Drinking, Diageo's Drink IQ website, Spirits Europe, the Portman Group, and DrinkAware. It found 3 strategies that these groups used. 1. Denial and omission. Denying, omitting, or disputing the evidence that alcohol consumption increases cancer risk. The Canadian body Edu-Alcool stated that no causal relationship has been shown between moderate drinking and breast cancer. As the researchers stated, this is a factually incorrect statement. 2. Distortion. Mentioning cancer but misrepresenting the risk. The Portman Group's response to the consultation on the UK's new drinking guidelines in 2016 stated that alcohol consumption has no impact on the majority of cancers, undermining the fact that alcohol causes a significant number of some of the most common cancers. And 3, distraction, focusing discussion away from the independent effects of alcohol on common cancers. Many industry groups use this tactic, including Drinkwise in Australia, which states that multiple risk factors are involved in the development of cancers, including genetics and family history of cancer, age, environmental factors and behavioural factors, as well as social determinants of health. But why does the industry not want people to know this causal link?
The alcohol industry is worried about its profits. And if people were more aware of the links between alcohol and cancer, they might see those profits go down because people might reduce their alcohol consumption.
Drinking alcohol becomes even more harmful if you smoke, as the combination significantly raises the risk of mouth and throat cancer compared to either habit alone. This is because alcohol and smoking together cause greater damage to your cells. For those undergoing cancer treatment, alcohol can reduce its effectiveness, while for cancer survivors, regular drinking may increase the risk of cancer returning. A 2023 study published in JAMA found many cancer patients and long-term survivors continue to drink alcohol, with some engaging in heavy or frequent drinking. Younger patients and male survivors were particularly likely to drink heavily. The researchers emphasized these findings should serve as a wake-up call for everyone involved in cancer care. Increasing awareness about the risks of alcohol is important, encouraging responsible drinking and healthier lifestyle choices for all.
But most people, the majority of people, do not realize that there's a strong link between alcohol and cancer. And even what's considered moderate drinking is like 1 drink a day for a woman, I think, and 2 drinks a day for a male. Even moderate drinking is linked to significant increased risk of cancer, of all types of cancers, pretty much.
Yeah, I think society and drinking, when you pin them up against each other, has always kind of bothered me, because we live in a society where you grow up and you're I just can't wait to drink. And then you go to college and you're drinking's so cool. And then you get older and it's if you drink too much, then that's viewed as a negative thing. But if you don't drink enough, you're a loser and you're not fun. And it's so ingrained in our society. And we give people the tools to gain a lot of weight and be really unhealthy and tell them that you should be drinking, you should be eating these unhealthy foods. And then we shame them when they take it too far or are overweight or if they become addicted. And I just think that is such a tough spot to put humans in.
Alcohol might be a common part of social life, but it comes with real risks, especially risks of cancer. Cutting back or rethinking your drinking habits can make a big difference for your health. And it's never too late to start. If you're struggling to reduce your alcohol intake, consider reaching out to support groups like Alcoholics Anonymous or talking to a healthcare provider about treatment options. There are also online resources and helplines available to guide you toward healthier choices. Ever wonder what happens when businesses secretly team up to mess with their customers? That's price fixing, where companies collude to set prices instead of competing fairly. It's a sneaky way for businesses to make more money, but it hurts everyone else, especially consumers.
Price fixing is considered an illegal business practice in many countries, including the United States. Since 2000, big companies in the United States have paid $96 billion in fines for price fixing and other shady anti-competitive practices, according to the nonprofit organization Good Jobs First. These illegal schemes have driven up costs for everything from groceries and auto parts to electronics and chemicals. Financial services and pharmaceuticals are some of the biggest offenders, with banks, credit card companies, and investment firms dominating the list of top violators. Price fixing is hard to prove since it's done in secret, often through private meetings or calls to avoid leaving a trail. It's usually exposed by insiders or alert consumers. One of the most recent cases of price fixing in the United States involves big potato companies accused of working together to hike prices on frozen potato products like fries and tater tots.
Just ahead of the Thanksgiving holiday, the nation's 4 leading producers of frozen spuds are in hot water. A handful of federal lawsuits filed this week accuse them of forming a so-called potato cartel. Court documents allege the potato producers coordinated prices through a third-party data company. The lawsuits claim Cavendish Farms, McCain Foods, J.R. Simplot, Lamb Weston, and the National Potato Promotion Board conspired to fix and manipulate prices for frozen potatoes in the U.S. Prosecutors say the companies formed a cartel by having equal access to each other's data on pricing and other sensitive information, as well as a direct line of communication to each other. Adding this allowed the companies to raise prices in a concerted arrangement, violating U.S. antitrust laws. The lawsuits assert the price coordination was made possible through a market data aggregator. The research firm Circana is named in one of the lawsuits. These companies control more than 95% of the frozen potato market, and attorneys say they used their market dominance to increase prices by nearly 50% in a 2-year span. The lawsuits seek undisclosed monetary damages and a court order ending the alleged price fixing. A McCain spokesperson denied allegations the company broke antitrust laws, vowing to fight all lawsuits leveled against the company.
The potato saga isn't exactly a new story. Back in 2018, 2 German potato packing companies were fined $15.8 million for secretly fixing prices on potatoes and onions in their contracts with retailer Metro. The scheme came to light only after another firm in the sector reported the collusion for leniency. And this isn't an isolated case. Germany's food sector has seen plenty of similar scandals with sausage makers, brewers, and even truck makers getting busted for price-fixing cartels. Also in 2018, this time in Canada, major grocery chains like Loblaws, Walmart, Sobeys, Metro, and Giant Tiger admitted to fixing bread prices between 2001 and 2015. During this period, the bread price index surged by 96%. The scandal came to light when Loblaw confessed and offered gift cards as compensation. The move generated buzz on social media and helped improve the company's image despite the controversy.
Grocery chain Loblaws has agreed to pay $500 million to settle a class action lawsuit. It's the largest of its kind in Canadian history. It's going to take a while to work out all the details, but the bottom line, anyone who purchased bread in the last decade is likely going to receive a check. The amount of that check is going to depend on how many people come forward, of course, likely millions of people. The suit was brought against a group of companies, including all of Canada's biggest grocers like Loblaws, alleging that they were participants in a decade-old industry-wide scheme to fix bread prices. We spoke with one of the lead lawyers in this class action case who says it is a great day for Canadian consumers.
There's no mechanism in criminal law to take back some of the ill-gotten gains. That's what we do. That's our job. We're the private enforcement. So when there's a price-fixing cartel, we go after these people. We take back as much money as we can, and we distribute it under court supervision. So to that extent, it's a good day, but we still have a lot of work to do.
Classic price fixing has been around forever, but technology is giving it a modern twist. Take RealPage, an American property management software company, as an example. They claim their software helps landlords figure out the most profitable rent prices. Sounds harmless, right? But several lawsuits suggest it might actually be an AI-powered price-fixing scheme. Here's how it works. Landlords input data like rent prices and vacancies into RealPage's software. The algorithm then suggests prices based on what competitors are charging. If enough landlords use the tool, rents across the board can go up, just like traditional price fixing, but without the shady backroom meetings. When there's no price competition, businesses stop innovating, costs stay high, and consumers lose out. This kind of algorithm-driven price fixing is spreading to more industries, and current laws might not be able to keep up. Here's an example of a class action lawsuit accusing companies of fixing rental prices in Canada.
I think YieldStar and any other pricing algorithm like it should be banned. I think there should be an investigation into its use in Canada. I think every single landlord who has been using it should be held accountable for the consequences that YieldStar has had on people like me, my neighbors.
Could a software like YieldStar have played a role in the housing crisis that we're seeing right now?
Well, that's absolutely what this lawsuit is about. The allegation is that YieldStar was used to artificially inflate the price of rent that Canadians pay.
Many large corporations have been fined billions for illegal price fixing, yet the problem persists. Price fixing scandals continue, with some companies repeatedly involved. The root issue is too much power in too few hands. When companies collude to fix prices, it creates a monopoly-like market with limited options for consumers, leading to higher prices and lower quality products or services. Price fixing hurts everyone except the businesses involved. Stronger regulations and enforcement are needed to protect consumers and ensure fair competition.
Taking a stroll on a sunny winter day can be a refreshing experience. UNN Field Messenger Steve M. provides an update on the snowy landscape as he explores his area of Fort McMurray in Canada.
Steve M. here, Fort McMurray, Alberta. Just a quick update on the weather and what we're going through. Beautiful today. And as you can see, we got snow. It's about minus 20 C. And I think that's somewhere around 1 degree or so in Fahrenheit. And yeah, this is on the way down to the river. There's the river. Here's the footbridge. There's some gray ice down there. You want to stay away from that when you're snowmobiling on these river highways in the winter. Here's some deer track heading over towards Saline Creek. Here's the Saline Creek. I'm at the edge of where the washout is. It's a big washout here. As you can see, there used to be land here, right up over to the creek over there. But I got washed away there last fall. Back home now, and I'm glad I got the fire going because I got a chill going out there. Steve M. reporting, UNN News.
For decades, around 100 farms in Canada have raised non-native Atlantic salmon in Pacific waters. However, salmon farming has come under fire for contributing to the decline of wild salmon. In June 2024, the Canadian government announced open net pen salmon farming in coastal waters will be banned by July 2029 to protect wild salmon and promote more sustainable practices.
Aquaculture is a major industry in Canada. In 2023, open net pen salmon farms in British Columbia produced more than 50,000 tons of fish, valued at $350 million. Wild salmon populations in British Columbia, or BC, have been declining, unlike the North Pacific, where hatcheries support stocks. Their decline is caused by overfishing, habitat destruction, and salmon farming. The impact varies by species and region, but in southern British Columbia, where salmon farms are common, wild salmon have struggled the most. Research increasingly links this decline to exposure to salmon farms and their pathogens. Concerns about parasites, viruses, and bacteria from farmed fish have already led to the closure of about 36 farms in British Columbia over the past 7 years, especially in areas along wild salmon migration routes.
It only took like a minute of research to learn that most of the drama today around salmon farming comes from salmon farming in open net pens. And this one form of farming has given the whole industry a bad reputation. Because aquaculture has been a part of human society since 2000 BC. And we've developed a number of ways to do this, and some are a lot better than others. But the salmon farms that have gained this notorious reputation along the coast of Canada, Scotland, and other parts of Europe are open net pen salmon farms. Open net pens are considered the highest risk form of aquaculture, and they have only really been around since the 80s. They basically hold the farmed fish in these big nets in the open ocean, often in prime salmon habitat, which on one hand seems like it would be really nice, right? Because they get to be a part of their natural ecosystem, sort of. But actually, open net pens have had a devastating impact on wild salmon populations. This method decimated Scotland's wild fish populations in the early 2000s and has been deeply concerning Canadian ecologists for a long time. The fishing industry spent years putting huge amounts of money and effort into covering this whole situation up. Despite huge scientific evidence, governments have ignored this issue and biologists have been censored or threatened for speaking out against open net pens. Indigenous groups have actively called for the transition away from open net farming technology, and the industry continues to push back. So, and now we're getting back to the grocery store in your life, okay? Because of these headlines and a general aversion to farmed meat, as we're going to talk about in a second, people shop for wild salmon to feel better about their dinner choices, even if they don't fully understand the difference. But in a weird twist on our usual content, we have some good news on this subject potentially. Due to all of this research and the activism of local Indigenous groups, Canada is currently in the process of closing all open net pens.
The ban is not without controversy. The Canadian Federation of Agriculture warns removing open net pen salmon farms from BC waters could have serious impacts. These farms produce 400 million salmon meals annually, contribute $1.2 billion to the economy, and support thousands of jobs. The decision threatens environmental advancements, partnerships with First Nations, and future investments in Canadian agriculture. It also raises concerns about the government's commitment to science-based decisions and rural communities. Instead of balancing wild salmon protection with industry support, the Federation says this choice undermines sustainable food production and economic growth.
The federal government has announced it will ban open net fish farming on the West Coast. Natural Resources Minister Jonathan Wilkinson says operations will need to completely cease within 5 years.
Facilities will be expected to make restocking and harvesting decisions that are consistent with the requirement to fully terminate all open net pen farming by June 30th, 2029.
The First Nation Wild Salmon Alliance, representing 120 First Nations across the province, was on hand voicing their support.
I can categorically say to all of you that this transition plan to remove open net pen fish farms is supported by the majority of First Nations in British Columbia.
The federal government says there will be a fund to support Indigenous communities through this transition, but provided no details. Across the street just minutes later, the Coalition of First Nations for Finfish Stewardship, a group of 17 First Nations who have embraced fish farming in their waters, voiced their opposition.
Aquaculture is a mean of economic empowerment and the path towards self-determination. It holds our nation from the brink of poverty that has been imposed on us by governments.
The minister and the group gave conflicting numbers of those employed in the industry. Wilkinson said it was only around 1,000. The group said it was 5,000, 500 of those Indigenous people. They say fish farming is critical in their communities.
We won't be told what to do in our territories by the government, by activists, by people who do not live in these territories and have no claim on our waters.
Salmon farming companies argue transitioning to closed containment systems, as recommended by the government, is costly and impractical. Experts warn shutting down open net farms could hurt small coastal communities, as land-based farms need significant resources like power, water, and proximity to markets. A 2022 report from British Columbia estimated replacing current production with land-based farms could cost $1.8 billion. Yet these systems remain largely untested. The federal government's ban on open net pen salmon farming will close 63 operations. However, decommissioning these sites is complex and expensive, as removing infrastructure is neither simple nor cheap. While regulations require cleanup plans and security deposits, these funds are often insufficient, leaving taxpayers or new site owners to cover the rest. Despite these challenges, removing open net salmon farms has been a win for wild Pacific salmon. The closures have already improved wild salmon survival, offering hope for these vital ecosystems.
I'm Alexandra Morton, and I'm in the Discovery Islands at Cirrus Rocks. I'm here to check on the juvenile fish that are migrating to sea this year. You know, for 20 years, we've seen massive sea lice outbreaks in this area because of the salmon farms. But this year's different because in December, the Minister of Fisheries made a landmark decision to prohibit the restocking of 19 salmon farms. Now, she was listening to 7 First Nations of this area. They said they did not want these salmon farms restocked. And so they're standing empty right now. And so for the first time in probably 30 years, the young salmon from the Fraser River and from mainland and Vancouver Island rivers are going to sea unharmed. They're going through waters that are nurturing them rather than killing them. And so I came down because I really wanted to see it for myself. And the impact on the wild salmon is like immediately visible. You can see it right now. The first year that these farms are not here, the fish look beautiful.
Banning open net salmon farms is a big step toward protecting wild salmon and their ecosystems. Sure, it's a challenge for farmers and coastal communities, but it's also a chance to explore more sustainable ways to farm fish. The real goal here is finding a balance between protecting the environment and economic needs, as both matter for the future.
At a farm in Wilton, New Hampshire, USA, families gathered on Christmas Eve to sing carols to the cows in a beautifully decorated barn. UNN Field Messenger CJ shares this festive and unique holiday experience.
Hi everyone, this is CJ, Field Messenger with United Network News from Goffstown, New Hampshire. I just wanted to share a short video of something fun that we did for Christmas Eve. So we belong to a CSA called the Temple Wilton Community Supported Agriculture. And every Christmas Eve, they have an event for families, and it's called Caroling or Singing to the Cows. So this is the first year that we actually went to this event, and we got there a little bit past 5, and I have to tell you, it was packed. There was no parking spaces left, and they were already singing their carols, so next year we'll definitely get there early. But I took some video, and we had a lot of fun. They had a table set up, so when you walked in, there was papers with the words to the different Christmas carols that they sung. They had a person playing the flute, and they had the herdsman there, Savano, and he was a conductor for the songs. There are 13 milking cows, and on the other side, they had the little baby calves. And they had it decorated really pretty. They had evergreens along where the cows were, and they had a table set up with a little lantern. They had berries mixed in there with handmade wooden decorations like stars, little stars, and they had little snowflakes in there. So it was really, really pretty. And it was actually quite cozy in the barn. So it lasts for about 30 minutes. And usually the families after, because it's only like 5:30, will gather together and stand around and talk and meet each other after. So it was a lot of fun just as a community thing to do. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas season or holiday season. And this is CJ, Field Messenger with United Network News from Goffstown, New Hampshire. Thank you for watching.
Every year on December 8th, people gather at Strawberry Fields in New York City to honor John Lennon by singing and playing his songs. UNN Field Messenger Calen shares his experience at this event. Hi, this is Calen with a Field Messenger report from New York City. Today, I'd like to share with you my experience at Strawberry Fields, which is located directly opposite the Dakota Building in New York City. Every year on the 8th of December, people gather at Strawberry Fields to remember John Lennon, one of the 4 Beatles. But with the influence he left behind, hundreds of people gather around Strawberry Fields to play and sing his songs. I was very happy to be there and meet the band in the morning when they were setting up. I even made a few friends. It was quite amazing to see how many people enjoyed the music and still spread the message of love. I was even lucky enough to be able to play in front of all these people.
This kid came from Melbourne, Australia, just to do it for us. And he's looking for airfare home. Yeah, start it up.
$1 a piece will take care of it.
Turn the volume up. Okay.
So, when you operate with such love and manifest, you can really do anything. I hope you enjoyed. This is Calen, reporting for UNN.
Are you ready to change the world? Take the next step and join our weekly Field Messenger meetings. Learn more at unitednetwork.earth. I am United Network News, and so are you.